Assalamu alaikum students. I am Dr. Sahir Rasool, Assistant Professor for Medical Unit 5. Close करने की कोशिश करते close ही नहीं होता। ये close. Today we will start our lecture from a scenario. A 40-year-old female presented in medical emergency with sudden onset of severe abdominal pain which radiates to her back. There is some relief from sitting up and leaning forward, and pain is worse when lying on her back. She has been vomiting, but vomiting gives no relief to her pain. She denies alcohol use and does not smoke. She has hypertension and that is uncontrolled. She is recently being diagnosed as diabetic, which is controlled on metformin. There is no other significant past history. On examination, her BMI is 31. Her blood pressure is 100 by 60. Pulse rate is 110 per minute. Respiratory rate is 20 per minute. And temperature is 38 degree Fahrenheit. There is no apparent jaundice or pallor. On abdominal examination, there is guarding and diffuse tenderness throughout the abdomen. Her breath sounds are normal. Heart examination shows tachycardia without any murmur, gallop, or rub. Now, students, on the basis of this scenario, what is your most likely diagnosis? And what are the differential diagnoses? The most likely diagnosis on the basis of this scenario is acute pancreatitis. The features favoring towards acute pancreatitis includes her pain. Pain is in the epigastric region and it is radiating towards the back, which is an important factor of acute pancreatitis. And the pain becomes worse on lying down and movement, and pain is relieved by sitting and leaning forward. These are the features that suggest the pain of acute pancreatitis. Also, the risk factors in this patient is hypertension, diabetes, and obesity. These all features are required for are important risk factors for gallstones as well as hypertriglyceridemia. Both of these gallstone and hypertriglyceridemia are important risk factors for acute pancreatitis. So our today's topic is acute pancreatitis. Today our topic is acute pancreatitis. Acute pancreatitis is a condition in which activated pancreatic enzymes leak into the substance of the pancreas and initiate the autodigestion of the gland. We all know that a large number of enzymes and hormones are produced from the pancreas. Normally, the pancreatic enzymes are released into the small intestine where they are activated and then they cause digestion of the carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. But in acute pancreatitis, these enzymes get released and activated within the pancreatic substance itself, and they causes autodigestion of the gland itself, causing acute inflammation and destruction of the pancreatic tissue. Now, what are the causes of these acute pancreatitis? The most common causes are gallstones, alcohol, and idiopathic in many of the cases. The rare other causes include metabolic causes like hypercalcemia, hypertriglyceridemia, drugs like thiazides, azathioprine, sodium valproate, pentamidine. Different infections also cause acute pancreatitis like mumps and cocci virus. Post-ERCP, post-endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatography, due to back pressure of the contrast into ductal system, also lead to development of pancreatitis. Trauma can also cause pancreatitis, organ transplantation, and post-surgical. So whenever we suspect a patient with the acute pancreatitis, we have to take history about all of these important risk factors. We have to take drug history, we have to take history of any previous surgery or ERCP, we have to take history of important cause of hypercalcemia and hypertriglyceridemia. Now this picture is showing important risk factors and important causes of pancreatitis. So most important causes are alcohol abuse that account for 40% of cases, gallstones that account for 40% of cases, and rest of all the causes account for 20% of cases of the pancreatitis. We can see that a gallstone can cause obstruction at any level. It can cause obstruction of bile duct, it can cause obstruction of the pancreatic duct, and it can cause obstruction of the ampulla of water where these two ducts combine. So obstruction at this side at ampulla of water or obstruction of the pancreatic or bile duct causes backflow and reflux of the pancreatic secretions and bile into the pancreas, leading to activation of these pancreatic enzymes within the pancreas itself. This picture is also showing important causes of pancreatitis, which are alcohol, gallstones, and Other causes like medications, trauma, infection, tumors, and hypercalcemia. Now, what is the pathophysiology of pancreatitis? As we have previously discussed, the pancreas secretes the digestive enzymes as proenzymes, which are activated in the intestinal lumen. Pancreas जब भी अपने digestive enzymes को secrete करता है, they are present in the form of proenzymes. They become activated within the intestinal lumen. An acute pancreatitis may result when activation occurs within the pancreatic duct system or acinar cells. It can cause edema or obstruction of the ampulla of water, resulting in reflux of bile into the pancreatic ducts or direct injury to the acinar cells. This is the same that whenever there is obstruction of the ampulla of water or pancreatic ducts, there is reflux of the bile and pancreatic secretion within the pancreas that leads to activation of the enzymes and that cause damage to the pancreatic duct system and the acinar cells. The pancreas show edema and necrosis. The release of enzymes lead to fat necrosis both in the pancreas and in the peritoneal cavity. Fat necrosis is an important pathogenic factor in the pancreatitis. Extensive fat necrosis होती है because of pancreatic lipase within the pancreas itself and in the peritoneal cavity. Premature activation of trypsinogen into trypsin while it is still in the pancreas results in autodigestion of the pancreas. This is a flow chart that is showing the factors that cause activation of the proenzymes into the activated enzymes within the pancreas. Defective intracellular transport and secretion of the pancreatic zymogens. Any multiple genetic factors can cause defect in the transport and secretion of the pancreatic enzyme and they become activated within the pancreas itself. Pancreatic duct obstruction by common bile duct stones or tumors. It can cause the activation of proenzymes into the activated pancreatic enzymes within the pancreas itself. Reflux of the infected bile or duodenal continents into the pancreatic duct, like sphincterophoidea dysfunction. It can cause reflux of the bile and duodenal contents into the pancreas, leading to activation of the proenzyme into the activated enzymes. Hyperstimulation of the pancreas, like alcohol and triglycerides, also causes activation of these enzymes within the pancreas itself. Also, a deficiency of pancreatic secretory trypsin inhibitor, which is an enzyme present within the pancreas, its deficiency also causes activation of these proenzymes into the pancreas itself, leading to acute pancreatitis. Clinical presentation. Now, how the patient of acute pancreatitis presents to us. Mid-epigastric pain with tenderness. Most of the patients present with mid-epigastric pain with tenderness in the abdomen. Patient usually complains of sudden severe pain occurring within 12 to 24 hours of large meal or alcohol. The pain is persistent and radiates frequently through the back to either shoulder or to one of the iliac fossa before spreading to involve the whole of the abdomen. Initially, it is present in the epigastric region and radiates to the back or to one of the shoulder, and later on spreads, it involves the whole of the abdomen. It exacerbates on walking and lying supine, and it is relieved on sitting and leaning forward. Patient also complains of nausea and vomiting associated with this epigastric pain. It has always been the presentation of acute pancreatitis in majority of cases. Patient can also present to us with shock. When pancreatitis is extremely severe, it mimics septic shock. Patient can present with fever, hypotension, respiratory distress from acute respiratory distress syndrome, elevation of the WBCs, and a rigid abdomen. So, patient can present to us with shock, and we have to look at what type of shock. This picture is showing the presentation of patient with acute pancreatitis. So, activated pancreatic enzymes cause autodigestion of the pancreas within the pancreas, leading to marked inflammation of the pancreas that causes intense pain and vomiting of the patient presenting to us in medical emergency. Now, what are the findings on the examination of the patient? Abdominal examination. We will find tenderness in the epigastrium. Diffuse tenderness will be present in the epigastrium or it can be present in the whole of the abdomen. Although severe pain, there may be little or no guarding of abdominal muscles at first. Later, the upper abdomen becomes tender and rigid as peritoneal irritation increases. Initially, there will be no guarding and rigidity, but when peritonitis occurs because of leakage of the pancreatic enzymes and pancreatic fluid within the peritoneal cavity, patient will develop diffuse abdominal guarding and rigidity and tenderness in whole of the abdomen. Mild abdominal distension if paralytic ileus develop. Patient will also have abdominal distension because of development of paralytic ileus because of release of the secretions and pancreatic fluid within the peritoneal cavity. In severe advanced cases, patient can develop bruising and discoloration in the left flank, which is called Gray Turner signs due to the tissue catabolism of the hemoglobin. Because of hemoperitoneum and release of the blood from the pancreas, patient can develop discoloration in the left flank, which is called Gray Turner sign, or around the umbilicus, which is called Cullen sign due to hemoperitoneum. These are rare and late signs of extensive necrotic pancreatic destruction. These are the pictures showing Cullen sign and Gray Turner sign. Whenever you see cross ecchymosis and bruising around the umbilicus and around the left iliac fossa, we must think of acute pancreatitis. Now, what is the complication of acute pancreatitis? There are a large number of complications, both local and general complication. Patient can present to us with shock and renal failure. Pancreatic failure is associated with leakage of fluids into the pancreatic blood, also ileus with fluid-filled loops of bowel leading to pre-renal azotemia and then acute tubular necrosis. As we have previously discussed that acute pancreatitis, a large number of fluids leak out from the pancreas into the peritoneal cavity. Also, a paralytic ileus develops that causes accumulation of fluid within the gut loops. All this accumulation of fluid lead to decreased renal perfusion and can lead to development of acute tubular necrosis. So, patient can present with acute renal failure to us. Hypoxia. Hypoxia occurs because of acute respiratory distress syndrome can occur because of microthrombi in the pulmonary vessels in pancreatitis. Patient can present with hyperglycemia because of disruption of pancreatic islet cells and decreased production of insulin from them. Patient can present with hypocalcemia because of sequestration of calcium in the fat necrosis. Sponification of calcium occurs with fat in cases of acute pancreatitis leading to hypocalcemia. Hypoalbuminemia develops because of increased capillary permeability occurs because of sepsis and shock in these patients. The local pancreatic complications of pancreatitis include necrosis of the pancreas, abscess formation within the pancreas. In it, patient present with rising fever, leukocytosis, localized tenderness, and epigastric mass. It may be localized associated with left-sided fluid effusion and enlarged spleen due to splenic venous thrombosis. Pseudocyst formation, this is a very important complication of pancreatitis. In it, encapsulated fluid collection with high enzyme content occurs within the pancreas. An encapsulated fluid collection is formed within the pancreas, making a pseudocyst. It is usually less than 6 cm size. Pseudocysts resolve spontaneously. जो छोटे साइज की pseudocyst होती है, that resolve spontaneously. They may become secondarily infected, requiring drainage of the abscess. They may become very large to causing obstruction of surrounding organs, and they may become secondarily infected, leading that may require drainage of the abscess. Ascites, gradual increase in the abdominal girth and persistent elevation of serum amylase in the absence of frank abdominal pain. Patient can develop ascites because of peritoneal irritation. Exudative type of ascites develop in acute pancreatitis because of inflammation of all the peritoneum. It results from rupture of the pancreatic duct or drainage of the pseudocyst into the pancreatic cavity. It occurs because of the release of the pancreatic fluids and rupture of the pancreatic duct and drainage of the pseudocyst into the peritoneal cavity. Result in development of ascites. This is a picture showing how a normal pancreas looks and how the pancreas looks when there is gross inflammation leading to advanced pancreatitis with bleeding hemorrhagic pancreatitis. This is a picture of CT scan showing a large pancreatic pseudocyst. This is a large pseudocyst of pancreas with a large pseudocyst, how it appears on CT abdomen. Other complications of acute pancreatitis include GIT complications, which are upper GIT bleeding. Patient can present with upper GIT bleeding, hematemesis, and melena because of gastric or duodenal erosion from the leakage of pancreatic enzymes causing damage to the gastric and duodenal wall. Patient can present with upper GI bleeding. Patient can develop duodenal obstruction leading to because of compression by a large pancreatic pseudocyst or pancreatic mass.
pancreatic abscess or pancreatic pseudocyst can cause duodenal obstruction, leading to intestinal obstruction. Patient can present with obstructive jaundice because of compression of a common bile duct by a large pseudocyst or by an abscess of the. Now, what investigations we will do for a patient presenting to us with acute pancreatitis? Serum amylase. It is a very important investigation which is routinely done in patients who are suspected for acute pancreatitis. Increased level of threefold or more than the normal value indicates acute pancreatitis. Threefold से ज़्यादा इसके levels होंगे then we will suspect acute pancreatitis. However, other causes of elevation should be excluded such as mumps and perforation or infarction of the intestine. Levels turn normal after 48 to 72 hours even with the continuing of the pancreatitis. Serum amylase के levels 48 to 72 hours के बाद normal हो जाते हैं even when the pancreatitis is continued. So serum lipase is preferred over serum amylase because its level remains high for 7 to 14 days and it makes us easy for diagnosing acute pancreatitis. Persistent elevation suggests pseudocyst, pancreatic abscess, and non-pancreatic causes like intestinal obstruction, mumps, and narcotics. Serum lipase, so it is preferred over serum amylase because it is more specific and it remains elevated for 7 to 14 days. It is usually required for diagnosis of serum of acute pancreatitis. Now, what other lab findings we will get on pancreatitis? On CBC, WBCs will be markedly raised about between 15,000 to 30,000. Glucose will be high because of lack of insulin production from the pancreas. Blood urea nitrogen will be elevated because of decreased renal perfusion and decreased flow to the kidneys. Serum calcium will be low in 25% of cases because of saponification of calcium with the fat. AST, bilirubin, and alkaline phosphatase are transiently elevated. Serum albumin is low in 10% of patients and indicates severe pancreatitis. LDH will be markedly raised in acute pancreatitis, usually more than 500 units per deciliter, and it suggests poor prognosis. Serial assessment of C-reactive protein is a good indicator of progression of the disease. ABGs will show hypoxia if the patient developed ARDS as a complication of acute pancreatitis. Now we can go for plain X-ray abdomen if we are suspecting intestinal obstruction to rule out the intestinal obstruction, and it can show gallstone, sentinel loop, colon cutoff sign, and features of paralytic ileus. Left-sided pleural effusion or collapse of the lung can be seen on X-ray of the chest. Usually the pancreatitis itself cannot be detected by X-ray abdomen, but it can be used to rule out intestinal obstruction, and it can show gallstones presence on it. CT scan is mainly required for diagnosing the acute pancreatitis. CT scan of the abdomen. It is useful in detecting large inflamed pancreas and pancreatic pseudocysts. Inflamed pancreas can be easily seen on CT scan, and also pancreatic abscesses and pseudocysts can be detected on CT scan. Hemorrhagic pancreas can be detected on CT scan abdomen. Presence of gas bubble indicates the abscess formation within the pancreas. Ultrasound. Pancreas is usually not clearly seen on ultrasound as it is present behind the intestines and stomach. It is used to detect the gallstones and biliary obstruction and serial assessment of the pseudocyst. Although in the earlier stages, the gland itself cannot be grossly swollen and may be missed on the ultrasound. Ultrasound पे हम gallstones that are causing the pancreatitis and dilated biliary channels that can be detected in cases of acute pancreatitis, and it can be used for serial assessment of the pseudocyst, either it is resolving or it is increasing. These are pictures of the CT abdomen showing acute exudative pancreatitis and acute necrotizing pancreatitis that is present on the left side and in the center of the abdomen behind the stomach. Ransom criteria is a very important criteria. It is required to see the severity of the pancreatitis and to look for the mortality of the patient. In it, we see different factors. Few are seen at the admission of the patient and few are seen after 48 hours of the admission. At admission, we look for the age of the patient. If the patient age is over 55 years, it shows as an important poor prognostic marker. WBC count more than 16,000 shows poor prognosis. serum LDH level more than 350 units per liter, blood glucose more than 200 milligram per deciliter, and serum AST more than 250. We look for these factors when the patient arrives in the emergency, and we in those in which we have suspected acute pancreatitis. If these factors are present, they show poor prognosis. There is 1 point for each of these factors. Then we see the other factors after 48 hours of admission of the patient. In it, if there is fall in hematocrit more than 10%, blood urea nitrogen is rise more than 5 milligram per deciliter, PO2 is less than 60 millimeter of mercury, serum calcium is less than 8 milligram per deciliter, base deficit is more than 4 milliequivalent per liter, and fluid sequestration is more than 6 liter, then these all are poor prognostic markers. We will give one number to all of these factors and we will calculate the score. If the score is from 0 to 2, then mortality is just 2%. If the score is from 3 to 4, the mortality is 15% in these patients. If the score is 5 to 6, there is 40% mortality. And if the score is 7 to 8, there is 100. Differential diagnosis of pancreatitis. These are the important differential diagnosis of acute pancreatitis. Perforated peptic ulcer, because in it also patient present with acute epigastric pain along with nausea, vomiting, and features of peritonitis. Acute cholecystitis and biliary colic. Acute intestinal obstruction. Renal colic. Myocardial infarction. Patient can present with epigastric pain and nausea and vomiting and myocardial infarction too. Vasculitis, pneumonia, and diabetic ketoacidosis, because in diabetic ketoacidosis patient also present with generalized abdominal pain and nausea and vomiting and fluid loss. So these are important differential diagnosis of acute pancreatitis. Management. Now, how we treat the patients of acute pancreatitis. In most of our patients, it is a mild disease that subsides spontaneously within several days. While treatment with withholding the food and liquids by mouth, bed rest, and in patients with severe pain and ileus, nasogastric suction is done. Supportive treatment is given to the patient like bed rest and nothing per oral. IV fluids are given to the patient like saline or whole blood. Nasogastric suctioning can be required if patient is having severe nausea, vomiting, or development of paralytic ileus is there. Pethidine is given to relieve the pain like 3 to 4 hourly to control pain and to avoid morphine. Oxygen is given to the patient who are hypoxic and have developed ARDS. Ventilator may be required in patient with ARDS. Dopamine may be required for patients who are in shock and that is not responsive to the fluids. Calcium gluconate is also given to the patient IV only if hypocalcemia is associated with tetany. Fresh frozen plasma is given for coagulopathy as DIC is also an important complication of pancreatitis. Serum albumin is given to the patient if he develops severe hypoalbuminemia. Insulin is given for treating hyperglycemia. Total parenteral nutrition can be given for severe cases. Antibiotics are given prophylactically. Broad spectrum antibiotic is given even in sterile pancreatitis to prevent the secondary infection. Usually imipenem is given 500 milligram IV 8 hourly or cefuroxime 1.5 gram IV 8 hourly is given. ERCP. ERCP is done when severe pancreatitis results from stone in the biliary tract. Because on ERCP we can remove the stone from the biliary tract, particularly if there is jaundice or cholangitis. ERCP with endoscopic sphincterotomy and stone extraction is indicated. जब भी pancreatitis is caused because of infection of the stone in the biliary tract, so we can do ERCP to remove that stone from the biliary tract into the pancreatic duct, and then a balloon is inflated and that guide wire and that help in extraction of the stone with the help of ERCP. Surgery. Surgical treatment can be required in case of acute pancreatitis. Cholecystectomy should be undertaken within 2 weeks of resolution of the pancreatitis. If the if the gallstones are causing the acute pancreatitis, to prevent further episode of pancreatitis, we have to do cholecystectomy and it should be undertaken within 2 weeks of resolution of pancreatitis. Patients with necrotizing pancreatitis or abscess require urgent endoscopic or minimally invasive retroperitoneal pancreatic necrostomy to debride all cavities of the necrotic material. Pancreatic pseudocysts can be treated by draining into the stomach, duodenum, or jejunum performed after 6 weeks once capsule matures by surgery or endoscopic cystogastroscopy. Agar large pancreatic pseudocysts are formed and they are increasing in size, then after 6 weeks of maturation of the capsule of the pseudocyst, we can cause surgical removal of that pseudocyst, or by endoscopic cystogastroscopy, we drain that pseudocyst into the stomach. Now we will go to the topic chronic pancreatitis. In it, there is chronic inflammatory disease in which there is chronic inflammation with irreversible destruction of the pancreatic tissue. इसके अंदर chronic inflammation of the pancreas हो जाती है that lead to irreversible destruction of the pancreatic tissue. Both the exocrine and endocrine glands present within the pancreas are destroyed. It is more common in men than in women, and its mean age. Etiology, the causative factors are almost same as in acute pancreatitis: high alcohol consumption, pancreatic duct obstruction, congenital abnormalities, hereditary pancreatitis, idiopathic chronic pancreatitis can be there, autoimmune, hyperlipidemia and hypercalcemia. All these factors lead to development of. Patient presents with pain that starts in the epigastrium and radiates to the back. It relieves on bending forward and worse after food intake. Exocrine failure, patient can present with feature of exocrine failure. Pancreas releases digestive enzymes to break down the lipids, protein and carbohydrates in the diet. So in pancreatitis, chronic pancreatitis, there is lack of these enzymes that lead to malabsorption of the nutrients in these patients. Endocrine failure, patient can have decreased production of glucagon and insulin, leading to development of diabetes. Loss of appetite and loss of weight. Intermittent jaundice. Patient can present with intermittent jaundice if the gallstone or tumor of head of pancreas is the cause of chronic pancreatitis. Investigation will go for serum amylase and lipase that will be raised in case of chronic pancreatitis, LFT, serum calcium, RBS to rule out hyperglycemia, and pancreatic function tests. In pancreatic function test, different pancreatic enzyme levels are examined and assayed. Imaging include plain abdominal X-ray, CT scan to detect chronic pancreatitis, chronic inflammatory changes on the pancreas, and ERCP can be done to remove the stones causing the pancreatitis, and MRCP can be done to look for any abnormality and problem in the biliary channels and pancreatic duct. Management is conservative, pain relief, pancreatic enzyme supplementation to fulfill for the malabsorption. Celiac ganglion blockade can be done in patient with severe abdominal pain to reduce the pain in these patients. Endoscopic and radiological treatment aimed at decompression of obstructed pancreatic duct may help in pain relief. Endoscopic treatment can be done if there is pancreatic duct obstruction by some tumor or by some gallstone. Surgical to improve the pancreatic duct drainage and to resect the diseased organ can be done in case of Glasgow prognostic score. This scoring is done in case of chronic pancreatitis. Like Ranson criteria is done in acute pancreatitis, this Glasgow prognostic scoring is done in chronic pancreatitis to see the mortality and morbidity in patients. In its factors, we see poor prognostic factors include PO2 less than 60 millimeter of mercury, age more than 55 years, neutrophils and WBC count more than 15,000, calcium less than 2 millimole per liter, serum urea more than 16 millimole, enzymes raised like AST more than 2000, LDH more than 200, and LDH more than 600, albumin less than 3.2 gram per deciliter, and glucose more than 10 millimole. These are all poor prognostic factors in case of chronic pancreatitis. So thank you very much. This is for today's lecture about acute and chronic pancreatitis.